All right. Okay, today we will see the installation part and we'll start Python basics too. Okay. Installation Anaconda. And then we'll try to open Jupyter Notebook, IDE. So we are going to use this IDE for almost for all the basics. That is going to last for another 30 days. 30 days in the sense, it's weekend batch, right? So 4 weeks, 4 weekends. And then we'll see shortcuts in Jupyter Notebook. We'll have menu alternatively, but it's always better to learn shortcuts so that you can easily execute code or write code. Okay, navigate through Jupyter Notebook. And then we will start Python basics. This is the agenda for today. Okay.
Okay.
So, 1 second. First and foremost, you need to search for Anaconda download. Okay. So here you get this download Anaconda distribution, right? Click on that. And here you need to provide your email ID. So I'm going to provide my email ID and check this box. Accepting the license. Submit. I don't know what kind of operating system you're using. Are you using Windows or Mac?
Mine is the Windows Dhamodhar.
Okay.
Sir, I have Windows.
All right. So click on Windows, and then you get this option, right? 64-bit graphical installer, and to click on this. Okay, there's somewhere around 900 MB.
So I already have Anaconda. So do I need to install it again, or some version we check it?
No need. So if you already install Anaconda, that's fine. But if you install only Python, I request you to uninstall it and restart the machine and reinstall. Install Anaconda.
Okay, I have Anaconda again.
Okay, so you know how to navigate through Jupyter Notebook, right?
Yes.
All right. So have you set the environment variables?
Yeah, earlier I was doing some works. That time I did, but yeah, I can learn it again. I mean, yeah, from the above menu, there is a one bar where we need to set it, and we need to put some codes.
Right. Okay. So here we have the Anaconda. So I'm just double clicking on it. Now, this will take some time. So basically, when you double click on this, so wait for it. So don't keep on clicking on this. It will open multiple windows because this will take some time to open to get this window. Next, I agree. Click on all users. Click on next. You'll get a pop-up, something that is not going to get shown on the screen, my screen. So you need to click on yes. Okay. It says that user account control. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? That is the kind of app you will get. So pop-up you'll get. So you need to click on yes. I did it, and don't change this path. I presume that you will continue with the same path. While installing the Anaconda, have you changed the path, Ranjana?
No, I don't think so, sir. Actually, I installed earlier, so
Okay.
I don't think so. I have changed it, and
Make sure. Just
yeah,
make sure. Copy this path.
so
Open
okay,
run.
it's in the C drive and program data, and inside that, okay.
Anaconda 3. We have that folder.
So I'll just check and confirm.
Okay. All right. Next, make sure that you don't make any changes to this. But in my machine, I already installed it, right? So I need to, so if you open this path, it's already been installed. The file's already been here. So And if I try to install with the same path, it will throw an error. But in your case, don't make any changes to this. But in my end, I'm adding one. Request you to not to change anything. Okay. Simply click on next without making any changes to this path. So next, and then uncheck this, check these two. Okay. Check this one also. Okay. And then click on install. And I'm not going to click on install because it's already been installed, right? I'm going to click on cancel. So you need to click on install. And it will take roughly around 5 to 7 minutes to complete the installation process. Okay. Immediately after that, one more thing that you have to do is you have to set the environment variables. Okay. So here you have this PowerShell. Basically, these are the environment variables we need to set. You can copy one by one, check for environment variables, edit the system environment variables, click on that. Environment variables button, click on that. Here you have path, and here you have the path, right? Okay, so Ranjana, is it in the same path or somewhere else?
Sir, I'm not able to find it in the program data folder. I mean, in my C drive and under the program data folder, there is no Anaconda folder.
Anaconda 3.
No, it's not there. So how can I check where is it?
I'm not sure which path you have mentioned, but okay, search for Anaconda. Not this one. It is difficult to get things done. Like, okay, let's see. Search for program files. We have anything called Anaconda 3 over there. Program files or program files 86. One of these. Ideally, it should be in program files. If it's not in program data. Is it there?
It's not in the, even in the program files 86, it's not in the program files and it's not in the program data.
Okay, I request you to, okay, it's difficult to trace it out where exactly. Okay, have you searched for Anaconda? Search for Anaconda and right click on it. So have you got any prompt? I mean, it's a command line kind of utility.
Just when I go to the Anaconda navigator, which option I'm getting it
Okay.
in.
Okay, you got Anaconda Navigator, right?
Yes, that.
So
that I'm.
right click on it.
Okay.
Open file location.
Okay. Yeah. It's in the program. It's showing me. It's in the Microsoft Windows Start menu programs. Under programs, It's showing me Anaconda 364-bit.
Okay, so basically what you need to do is up to Anaconda 3, you need to copy it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then just you need to change up to here. So this path. Make sure that it's Anaconda 3 only, right? Is it something else?
Yeah, Anaconda 3.
All right. So this part you need to change. Okay. I will provide it in chat. Copy it. And you need to go to environment variables. And then here you have two paths. This is for user specific. So the one that you have logged in. And this is for all the users. So there is a possibility that you can create multiple users in the same machine. Okay. So you need to click on this first, and then you need to keep adding these paths one by one. As I said, if you install in somewhere else, this part you need to change. Okay, to whichever location that you have installed. And make sure the Anaconda 3 is intact. Okay.
So, sir, what you said, it's like whatever you have pasted in the chat, that we need to add one by one in the environment variable.
Exactly. So you need to click on new and keep adding it.
Okay. So it will change the Anaconda's path to the program data. Is it like that?
Not to program data. It will point to the Anaconda 3 wherever you have installed your machine. So it doesn't matter where you have installed, but it's always better to go with default one, especially you are a new new to Anaconda, right?
Okay.
That's the reason. So you need to keep adding these 5 paths. I have already added it. Okay. But in your case, the only thing you have to change is the path. In the same way, you need to add, okay, you need to click on OK. So once you add it, click on OK. And then you need to click on path. And then you need to add these paths, 5 paths again. New, copy paste, one by one. Don't copy all at once. Okay. Okay, I'm just click OK, OK, and OK. That's all. Clear?
How can I reach to this window, sir? System environment variable window.
Just search for environment.
Okay. Okay.
Edit the system environment variables. Click on environment variables button. Here you have the path.
Edit the system environment variable. Yes, I got it. Now from there.
No, so don't try to do it parallel. Like, I mean, after the session, you can try it.
Okay, sir. Right. I will do it. I'll just copy paste it in the notepad. This one.
All right. Okay, so any questions, Kishan? Clear?
No, Dhamodhar, I'm good. I will try after this session. The recorded session will be available, right? So I don't want to try it online while we are discussing. I will take it later. Is that fine?
All right.
Or
Yeah, fine.
do you want
That's
to do
fine.
parallelly?
No need. So you can do it. You can try it after the session.
Yeah.
Video recording will be available by I think by evening, or I think in your case by morning.
Okay.
And once you add the paths, both in those 2 paths, one user specific, the other one is system one, you need to restart your machine.
So we need to add in the both sections, the user specific also and the system specific. Okay. Sir.
Yes. So once you have done, you need to restart your machine.
Okay.
All right. The next thing that you have to do is you need to download PowerShell 7.
Okay.
By default, the PowerShell that you get is PowerShell, the old version. Okay. You need to switch to PowerShell 7. So what you have to do is PowerShell 7, search for that. Installing PowerShell on Windows, click on that. Here you have installing the MSA package, right? Click on that. Here you get 64-bit, 32-bit, and ARM version, ARM processor. So you need to click on 64, this one, the first one. Okay. Let me click on it. So you'll get this window. Click on next. Click on next. Add PowerShell 2. So make sure that you check all these check boxes. By default, you're not going to get all this one. So you need to check all these boxes. Click on next. Click on next. Again, make sure that you check these two. It will keep updated like whenever a new version comes in. And you click on install. That's all. Okay. So in my case, I cancel it, but you need to click on install. Once you have done it, restart the machine and then open PowerShell. Right. This is an old version. Okay. So you will get old version. So PowerShell. Click on this drop down. and click on settings. And here you will get the option. By default, this will be selected. So you need to change to PowerShell 7 and click on save. So close out. That is what you need to do. So another one is Visual Code. Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio. Okay. You need to click on Visual Studio. You need to search for Visual Studio Code. And in Google, you need to search for Visual Code. You need to click on Windows Setup. Click on that. And here you have this download option. I will try Code Installer. Okay. Click on this installer. Again, the same process. So in order to make any changes, just click on download it. Click on that. Setup has read that Visual Code is currently running. So in my case, it's already installed, right? So I'll show you the process. I mean to say, a document, I already recorded it. Where is it? Yeah, slides. You have something called installation guide. Visual Code installation. Okay. Looks like this file is moved. Okay. Visual Code, yeah, right. Not this one. Right, here it is. If at all you get something like this, just turn it. Yeah, so you need to click on this one. Okay. If at all you get the document in this way, I mean to say, if it is being turned down, so turn down or turn right or turn left, just keep wiggling until you get this one. So you need to download this, right? And then you'll get this exe, and then you need to accept the agreement. Click on this radio button, click on next, and then click on next again. Don't make any changes to this path. And click on this checkbox, click on next, and make sure that you check these boxes. Desktop icon is not necessary. This is desktop shortcut, which is not necessary. Click on these four, click on next, and click on install. So you'll get something like this. And finally, you need to click on finish. You don't require to check this one, launch Visual Code, just click on finish. Okay, that's all. So once you open that, okay, basically make sure that, okay, so we need to make few changes. So make sure that you check this box. That might be the reason why I have given like this. Click on finish, that will launch the Visual Code. And then you need to click on this one. So it's your choice, basically dark mode or light mode. I prefer light mode. So when you click on Visual Codes, I prefer light mode, right? There is another way that you can, I mean, so there's another theme that is available in Visual Code by default. So you can switch to dark mode also. But I prefer to go with light mode. So click on this. It's just a theme, the way it appears. And you will get a window something like this. That's all. Okay. The next one is, we'll go to Python. But even before Pythons, we need to understand how Jupyter Notebook works, right? So I will share few files. Let me ML, Python basics. So I will share this Python file, Python zip file. Okay. So wherein you will get this Jupyter notebooks. Let me click on options. It's always better to go with view, hide extensions, uncheck this one, apply, okay. You'll get the extension too. So you can see that IPYNB extension, right? IPYNB means IPython notebook, okay? So you'll get some bunch of files with extension IPYNB. and a few other files also, something that we'll discuss it later. So a few text files too. So you need to right click on empty space, open terminal. So this will open the terminal. You can see the PowerShell 7 this is, and this will open the terminal in the same path where we are in right now. Okay, if at all you don't get this open in terminal option, you need to copy this path. Just click on this empty space, copy this path, terminal, search for terminal, click on that, and CD space and the path, click on it. So it got changed to this one, right? Okay, don't open CMD. CMD is different. Search for terminal, open it, CD space, the path where you want to open. So in this case, I want to open Python file. So I got into this folder, copy this path, CD space and the path. If it is something else, just you need to change the path. That's all. It's always better to go with this option. In some case, you are not going to get empty space. So you don't see this option open in terminal. So alternatively, I'm giving another option to you. Now, Jupyter space notebook. You type it. JUPY. It is not JUPI. Usually Jupyter is, the spelling of Jupyter is JUPI, right? But make sure that it is JUPYTR. Space notebook. Click on it. Enter. You'll get something like this. It will automatically open a browser. You can see that, right? I'm going to click on always. It has opened it. In some case, you're not going to get the browser will not open automatically. So what you can do is here you can see HTTP localhost 888 something like this, right? Just copy this one. By mistake, by mistake I enter Control C. Let me enter it. So the way you need to copy this one is copy, select this one, right click. So when you right click off after selecting it, it will get copied. Just open new tab, paste it. You'll got the same window, right? So you have to do this only when the browser tab has not opened automatically. So if you want to open any files, just double click on it. This will open the files. So all the nodes that I'm going to explain is already been here. So you can use this one. But I always request you to open a new notebook. Click on new notebook. Click on new. Python 3 IPv, and you can see that, right? Click on that. This is the way that you can open a new notebook. If you want to change the title, just click on untitle my notebook. Okay. This is the way that you can create a new notebook. Okay. So there's always preferred to open a kind of workbook. Let me show you this. Let's take. I will open a notebook like this and keep explaining you, like, without opening these files, and keep on, instead of explaining it orally, I prefer to open, I created these files, demo1, demo2, demo3, wherein it contains all the topics, and keep explaining you. For example, let's take arithmetic operators, right? Let's take x equal to 5. This is the way that we can create a variable in Python. Take 3, x plus y is 8. Okay. This is how I will explain the topics instead of opening the file. But you can always prefer these refer these files. If you miss out anything, or for notes, for complete notes, always look for these files. And let me explain the Jupyter notebooks. Any questions up to now? We have installed Anaconda. We have installed PowerShell 7. We have installed Visual Code. Now we know how to open a Jupyter notebook, right? We know how to open existing file, and we know how to create a new Jupyter notebook. And we can even change the title too by clicking on this. Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, Dhamodhar.
All right. Now we will go through a few shortcuts to navigate through this Jupyter. Okay. Here we have menu, but don't go for this unless, it's always better to go with shortcuts that will reduce the time of execution. Reduce the overall coding process. For example, let's take 2 plus 3. This is by default code block. You can see code over here. There's a drop down. Okay. There is another option to markdown. So basically you prefer these two. So code or markdown. You don't go with raw. So code by default, it is code block. And if you write something like 2 plus 3, so any code you want, even if it is Python code, right? So 2 plus 3, if you execute it, you'll get the output. The way you need to execute this one is, there are two ways in fact. Control enter and then shift enter. The preferred choice is shift enter, but there is a reason why we need to use control enter too. So 2 plus, let's take 2 plus 4, shift enter, I executed it and I got the output and it moved to the next block. That's exactly what shift enter does. Executes the block and moves to next block. Whereas control enter does the same thing, executes the block and stick to the same block. Let me show you that. So 2 plus 5. Control enter. You can see that it got executed. It is showing the output 2 plus 5 is 7. But the focus is on the same cell. You observe that? So 2 plus 7. Control enter. The focus is on the same cell. Usually we try to move to another block, but in some case where we need to execute multiple times. For example, let's say control enter. When we want to keep on executing it, in that case we go for control enter. Okay. We usually go with shift enter. It moves to the next cell. What if it is, for example, 2 plus 8, right? What if we don't have any other cell next to it? Then shift enter, it will create a new cell on its own. If there is an existing cell, it will move to the next cell. But if there is no cell, it will keep on creating. You can see that, right? So that is code block and shift enter and control enter. There is another one, markdown. Markdown is for documentation. Usually, if you want to add titles or if you want to add some text, for example, I want to say that it's an addition, right? Escape A, press escape A. That creates a new block right above the current one. So for example, I have a block and I'm in this one, right? Press escape. The focus moved outside the block. It is on the same block, but outside, right? So now escape A. It creates a new cell right above the current one. What if you want to create a new cell right below this one, 2 plus 7? You want to create a new one in between 2 plus 7 and 2 plus this block and this block. The way you need to do is, you can do that is escape B. Let me press escape B. Escape B, escape B. That is how we create a new block. Creates a new block right below the current one. Okay. I hope you got these shortcuts. There are a few more shortcuts. Initially, you will find very difficult to remember these shortcuts, but stick to shortcuts. It is definitely worth. Okay. And I told you about markdown also, right? So escape, or for example, if I want to change this code block to markdown, escape M, because that got automatically changed. You can go here and change it, but it's always better to change it right here itself. For example, escape M, right? That is how we can change the code block to markdown block. I can change it back from markdown to code block, escape Y. So escape M is for code to markdown. Escape Y markdown to code. And these A or B, whatever, these are not case sensitive. So don't worry about it. The reason why I'm keep on pressing escape is if the focus is inside the block, it has to come out. It has to be come out on top of this block. That's the reason I'm pressing escape. If the focus is already on top of this, then we don't require to press escape. Now I'm going to press A. A. You can see that. I have not pressed escape, right? Another one is escape DD. Deletes the cell or the block. For example, I don't I don't want these cells anymore. Escape DD. When you keep on pressing DD twice, it will keep on deleting the cell blocks. Okay. Any questions? Now let me add title to this. Escape M. Turn from code block to markdown. I want to add title. So if you addition, right? Shift enter. You can see that the text has been added. Basically, if you want to add something else, let's take this is generative AI course. Shift enter, you can see that text will get displayed, right? But if you want, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So within the if you see the line number 29, there is a 2 plus 9 inside it, right? So
Okay.
do we need to write like one line in only
No,
one line, or
no, nothing like that. So you can write.
so
No,
within
as
the
many
line,
lines.
if we want to do more lines, it's enter, right? Just enter, normal enter.
Okay, so you mean to say 3 plus 9, right? That's true. 3 plus 9, enter.
Just enter.
4 plus 8, enter. Yeah.
Okay. So is it a single statement, or because in Java or any other programming IDE, so whatever you write until the semicolon, it's a complete statement, right? So here, whatever I wrote in the line number 29, is it considered the whole as a single statement?
No, you can write multiple statements in the same block. So basically, it's a block. So you can write as many statements as you want.
Okay, it's not a line of code, it's block of code.
Yeah, exactly. So let me show you that if you have that regression template, right? You can see I can write multiple lines.
Okay.
Right? So I can write as many lines, as many statements as I want.
Okay, so there is no restriction. So if
There's
you
no
take
restriction.
Java file, a single class file, so within a class, the whole class file also I can write it in a single block.
Right, you can do that.
Okay, yeah. Please carry on.
Okay, escape DD deletes the cell. So now we are in markdown cell, right? So basically, whenever we want to add title, we don't add like this, simple text. Simple text displays like a simple text. If you want to add a title, you need to use hash space addition. So shift enter. You can see that it is showing as a title. There are 6 types of titles, just like the way we have it in HTML. So let's take heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 6. If you keep on adding it, let's say 7, then it's not going to consider as title. You can see that a clear distinction, right? So don't go beyond 6, but here you have various types of titles based on how much size, right, you prefer. It's always basically there will be only one main heading. in the whole Jupyter notebook. And the remaining and all is going to be headings, subheadings, and sub-subheadings kind of. Okay, this is how we can create titles. And if you want to write a generalized text, let's take generic text, you can write something like this. But in some case, like if you want to, let's take this another course, if you want to add another title, it's going to get shown in the same line. So what you can do is break. You can see now that it's showing in a new line, right? Just like the way we have it in HTML. Very much similar to HTML, but not exactly. This is in fact markdown.md. But if you want to add any sections, like for example, section dash section subsection 2 1 subsection. You can keep writing this. You can see that section, subsection, and then subsection. Okay.
Sir, few of the cells are showing some numeric numbers like 29, and few of like it's showing like 29, 29 two times. Sometime it's like showing 29, 30.
No, it's the same block. It's the
Okay.
same block. For example, let's take 3 plus. I don't have anything written over here, right? Obviously, when we execute something, it will show up like numbers. Otherwise, it's going to be by default blank. If you execute again, it's 31. It is not in sequence. Basically, it depends on it. Will keep on incrementing whenever you execute something. Right?
So Dhamodhar, for after writing 3 plus 9, in order to display 12, which key you are entering?
Shift enter.
Shift enter.
We already discussed about it.
Okay, so it's a next block.
Yeah, execute it and then move on to next block.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so this is how we add text to markdown cells. I told you that we can flip from markdown to cell or code to markdown with these two commands. Code to markdown is escape M, and markdown to code is escape Y. Okay, any questions? I think I have not missed anything.
Only one doubt is like in the beginning of Python, like in order to write the Python code, we have some IDs, right? So we can write it in idle or we can write it in PowerShell to see the command. I mean, to see the execution and all. Like I can enter 2 plus 7, enter 9, it will show. So this Jupyter which we are showing, is this kind of an IDE?
Yeah, it
to
is an
write
IDE.
Python programs? Okay. Okay. So it's a popular IDE to write Python.
Yeah, in fact, that's exactly what I said, right? So Jupyter Notebook is an IDE that we are going to use.
Okay. So general people will use this more.
Yeah. Alternatively, we can use Visual Code, but it is for bigger projects.
Okay. Because why I'm asking is when it is running in the local host, generally IDEs will run in our local with the exe file, right? Like Eclipse or Visual Studio or whatever it is. But this is running in browser, like local host.
Exactly. So this Jupyter Notebook is basically a browser based, right?
Yeah, that's what I got. I thought it's like a Google Forms kind of stuff.
No, it's not Windows GUI. It's basically Web GUI. That's the only difference.
So basically, it's a browser-based IDE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next one. Okay. Next one is comments. So if you want to add any comments, right? Let's take variable X assigned a value 5 to it, right? So if you want to add something like this, you can add it, but you need to use hash, right? Or else if you want to, let's take that you want to select something and you want to comment out, control slash. Control slash is the way to comment it out. E on screen keyboard. This is the slash you need to use, not this one. Control and then slash. And even you can comment multiple lines. For example, let's take, I want to comment this down, control slash. Just select it and control slash. All right, so we'll get into Python now. So if you have any questions on shortcuts and Jupyter Notebook, let me know. We'll start operators.
One question before operators. So how would we know, like within a block, do I need to write all my content in a single block, or do I need to write only one line in one block? So which factor decides it? So I can write all my code in a single block also, right? No use of control shift enter or shift enter. So I can write entire thing, but what is the purpose that they kept like block wise?
So let's say that you want to learn Generative AI. Do you want to learn Generative AI 1 hour a day, or weekend 3 or 4 hours a day? Or you want to, let's take revision. You want to revise the whole content. Let's consider that the course has been completed. Do you want to revise in 1 or 2 days, or you want to take some month or two to revise the topics? It's completely your choice, right? The same way Jupyter Notebook blocks also. It's your choice. It's always better to go, use multiple cells. That readability will improve.
Understood. So there is no standard pattern which was decided to write in that phase. No. It's up to us. It's up to us who writes the code.
Okay. For loops and all, obviously you have to keep it in the same block.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is operators.
Sir, one question. Sir, one question. It's like how the markdown and the control that we read just now. It's a control slash. One cell is like control slash and another cell is like markdown cell. Are they different or similar?
The hash used in a code block is different. It's comment. Markdown is different. There it is considered as title. So markdown, I commented to markdown, right? This is different. This is not comment. This is title. So markdown cell hash is different, and the code cell hash is different. If you use hash in code cell, it is going to be considered as comment.
Okay, that we can use later. I mean, removing the hash, and you can use that code cell later in the program.
So basically, we add comments in the code cell to understand what this line does for documentation perspective.
Okay. Okay, that means they are different. Like this markdown is basically for putting up the headings in my Jupyter notebooks, and the comment control plus slash that we learn is like to comment out my code cells. Wherever I wrote some specific code and I want to comment it for some time, so I can put that.
Yeah, you can write text also in code block, but by default, if you execute it, it will throw an error. So if you add it as comment, it will ignore. So that's the reason we use. All right, so we'll start with operators. Bitwise operators is not necessary. So even though I have provided the notes here, you can ignore it. There will be a point wherein we need to understand the basics of bitwise operators, something that will come in deep learning. So I'm not going to discuss right now, but whatever that is necessary in bitwise operators, we will have a discussion in deep learning. So right now, I'm not going to discuss anything about bitwise operators, completely ignoring this part. Okay, we'll discuss the remaining operators. Even in assignment operators, we have few bitwise operators like bitwise and bitwise right shift and bitwise left shift. So which is not necessary again. Okay, it's from generative AI perspective. Now we'll start arithmetic operators. We have addition, subtraction, division, floor division, modulo, multiplication, power of. We will discuss each with an example so that you can understand it well. Okay, let me take a variable. So this is how, let's take x equal to 5, y equal to 3. I created two variables. In fact, this is not necessary. You can write straight away like this, but it's always better to store it in a variable so that we can keep reusing this. X plus 5. So x and y are operands, plus is arithmetic addition operator. Okay. X plus 5 is 8. The reason why we got 8 is x is 5, y is 3, so it is 8. So that's the reason we got 8. And the same way we have subtraction also. X minus y, 5 minus 3, right? 5 minus 3 is 2. Same with division, x slash y, right? So it is 5 divided by 3. So basically it yields out a decimal value. Let me 3, 5. This is how we do division, right? 3 ones, 3. 3. And the remainder is 2, right? Obviously the 3 no can't go with 2. So we need to add decimal. Now it is 0, 3, 6, 18. 3, 6, 18. 18, and the remainder is again 2. And we can now, as we have added decimal already, so we can keep adding 0. So, and 3, 6, 18 and all. So it keeps on going. Based on the prediction, the last digit usually be rounded off. So it's going to be 7. So let me execute this one. You will get the similar output based on the precision. Right? That is division. The next one is floor division. So I'm just copying the same thing. Tell you that it is almost the same, but we need to add double slash instead of one slash. That is floor division. What we got here is basically the same value without the decimal part. We take out this decimal part, what we got here is 1, right? That's exactly what floor division does. Let me explain what is floor again with another example. For example, let's say that you have 5.2, right? The floor value of 5.2 is without decimal part. So floor is always without decimal. So whatever the decimal, it can be even 5.8. 5.8 or above anything 0.5. So you get the same result without decimal part, that's all. There is another thing called ceiling. Ceiling is something like same thing, 5.8, take out the decimal part plus 1. What we get here is 6. For example, let's take that we take the value of 4.3 here. The ceiling value is going to be 4.3. Take out the decimal part plus 1. That is ceiling value. So in a building, we'll have floor and ceilings, right? Floor is the bottom part. Seal is the top part. That's exactly how it works. If we have 4.8 or any 3.5 something in between, just imagine the floor value, ceiling value is going to be without decimal plus 1. So the top part. And floor value is going to be without decimal. That's all. Okay. That is how you need to visualize it. So 3.8. The floor value, ceiling value is going to be 4. And floor value is going to be 3. For example, if we have 79.825, the ceiling value is going to be 79 plus 1, right? That is 80. Whereas ceiling value is going to be without decimal, 79. Okay, that is how you need to understand this. Any questions? So the floor division is basically floor value of this. Floor, what is floor value? Without decimal part. So that's the reason we got 1 here. I hope that is clear. Next one is modulo. So modulo is nothing but remainder part. For example, with it is not going to calculate with decimal values. The same thing. This is remainder part, right? Reminder. This is exactly what modulo does. For example, x modulo y. So percentage is the modulo operator. You can see 2 because we got 2 here. For example, if you take something else as 22 modulo 5, we'll take something else. Let's take 3. We got 1. 3 7s 21. The remainder is 1. So we got 1 here. The next one is multiplication and power of x. We use asterisk for multiplication. So it is basically x is 5 and y is 3. So 5 multiplied with 3 is 15. So we got 15. The same thing we have power of. We need to use double asterisk. Make sure that there is no space in between. Just it need to be like this, right? So the way it works is 5 to the power 3. 5 cube. That's exactly what it is. So 5 cube is 5 5 is 25. 25 is 125. 125. Right? You can even write something like 25 square. This is how we get. Right? So any questions on arithmetic operators?
No.
All right, we'll move on to the next one, comparison operators. Have any difficulty to understand concepts, let me know. Maybe I'll try with another exam, something that you can understand. Okay, so now it is 8. Take 5 minutes break, and then we'll meet back again at 8:05. So for every hour, we will take some 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back and start the session.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. So Ranjana and Kishan.
Yes, sir.
Kishan, are you there? Shall we start? Wait for 1 more minute. Okay, Kishan.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm on mute.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll start comparison operators now. So comparison operators always yields out either true or false. In Python, it is case sensitive. It's capital T, and the remaining letter should be in small case. It should not be something like this. Okay, it has to be like this or like this. So comparison operators always yields out Boolean values. We call this as Boolean values, the true or false. Suppose we have a comparison operator greater than here. We already have x and y, right? So let's take x is greater than y. So 5, x is 5 and y is 3. So 5 is greater than 3, obviously, right? So it yields out true. So let's see. We can see that it is true. Same way we have less than. 5 is less than 3, which is false. 5 is not less than 3. 5 is in fact greater than 3. So 5, but we are comparing 5 to 3, that's less than or not. So now you can see false. The same way, we have greater than or equal, greater than equal to. So how it works is greater than or equal to 5 greater than 3 or 5 equal to 3. So whenever you say equal, let use double equal. If you use single equal, that is going to be considered as an assignment operator. So we are assigning a value to a variable. So if you want to compare it, we need to use double equal to. There is no triple equal to. 3 equals in Python, unlike, like in the case of JavaScript. So we're not going to, we don't have that option. So it's double equal to. So double equal to is always to compare whether it's equal or not. So 5 greater than 3, this part is true. Or 5 equal to 3, which is false, right? So true or false. Now the question is whether it is going to yield out true or false. Whenever you have this or, right, doesn't matter how many false you have. If you have one true, the whole thing will become true. If you have or, unless everything is false. If everything is false, even if you have or, obviously it's going to be false. Whereas and, doesn't matter how many true we have, we have one false, anywhere in between, not to be only at the end, anywhere in between. So it is going to be false, unless everything is true. Okay, so based on that, so we have one true in the case, and we have or. So it is going to be true. You can see that it is true, right? The same way we have less than or equal to also. Less than, the way it works is 5 less than 3 or 5 equal to 3. So this is basically shortcut notation for this one. In short, we are writing in this way. So there's no difference between this one and this one. 5 is less than 3 or 5 equal to 3. 5 is less than 3, in fact, it's false, right? Again, we got 5 equal to 3, it's false. So when both are false, even if we have or, so it's going to be false. You get false, right? I hope you got an idea like how this greater than equal to less than equal to works. Any questions?
Sir, can you please repeat this multiple conditions when we are checking the multiple conditions?
Multiple conditions, again, you need to wrap it in round brackets and you can keep on doing that. Suppose if you want to something like this, you can write it. It is not a multiple condition, in fact, if you look at only this part. It is just the shortcut notation for this one. We don't consider this, even though it appears like this is one expression, there's another expression. We write it in one, one form itself. We consider it as one expression itself. We don't consider it as two expressions, even though literally it is. Right? So just you need to remember these two to understand this. That's all. So don't try to remember things, but just try to understand the concept. That's all. For questions, you can of course let me know.
That thing that you said, like it's the concern of like logical operators, like we learn it in electronics.
Okay.
Like what happens when we have a and what happens when we have or.
Exactly. It's the same concept.
Okay.
Next one is equal to. You already saw equal to, but if you mention double equal to, the way it works is that it is equal on 5. Here x is 5, y equal 3. Obviously, 5 equal to 3 is not true, right? So it is false. So we get false. Right? What if I change y equal to 5? Obviously, now it is 5 equal to 5. So I change y from 3 to 5. So 5 equal to 5, which is true. Now it is also true. So it depends on the value. So if it is equal, it's going to throw it returns true. If it is not equal, it is going to return false. Same way we have not equal to also. In fact, 5 not equal to 5. In fact, 5 equal to 5. 5 not equal to 5. Obviously, it is false, right? What if it is y equal to 3? Now it is 5 not equal to 3, which is true. So this is true. So that is about comparison operators. I hope this is clear. Kishan, I think you are from Java background, right? So you can understand these concepts quite easily.
These are all, yeah.
Very
Actually,
basic stuff.
I'm basically from QA, but I do automation.
Okay, so you know Java basics.
Yeah, Java, JavaScript. I know.
All right.
Even
No, it
Python
doesn't matter.
also core level, I know. Yeah, but these are all basics. Yes.
Core concepts.
Yeah, yeah.
The next one is logical operators. Okay, Ranjana, clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, the next one is logical operators. We already saw this and or. We'll see that one again. Y equal to 3. And I have taken z equal to 2. So we already have two variables. I added one more variable. So we can use and basically like PEDMAS, parentheses, exponent, division, multiplication, addition. This is the order that it preferred. It will give the preference. So the parentheses will supersede exponent. Exponent will supersede division. Division will supersede multiplication, and so on and so forth. Right? Whenever we write an equation, more complex equation, right, with multiple expressions, so we need to follow this way. For example, let's take 8 plus 3 divided by 2 minus 4. So how this works? Basically, we don't have parentheses here. We have addition, division, and subtraction. So what do we have it here is division supersede plus and minus. So first we need to do this one, 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5, right? So 1.5. And now addition, subtraction, obviously addition is supersedes subtraction. So 8 plus 1, 1.5, that is 9, 9.5. 9.5 minus 4 is 5.5. Sorry, let me 5.5. So we got 5.5. Let's try. Okay. What is the equation that I have written? Okay. So I think I missed that one.
So if you do Control Z, it won't come, Dhamodhar? Control Z.
Basically, undo, yeah, it has to work some, but Jupyter Notebook is not reliable one.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the problem. So that's the reason I have not mentioned
You
in
give you
shortcuts.
gave I think 8 plus 3 or 8 plus 3 by 2 minus 4
8 plus 3
by
by
2
2 minus 4, right?
minus 4. Yes.
5.5. So that's exactly what matches with the output that we got, right? So we need to follow this one. But if you want to exclude, let's say that we want to exclude 2.2 minus 4, right? Then you better include it in parentheses. So always, instead of remembering the whole thing, you always go for this one, round brackets, because it has higher precedence over the other operations. Same way here, if you whenever write an expression 5 greater than 3 and 3 greater than true, and we use this round brackets, and we combine with and or operators. Here we have an example. X is greater than y, 5 greater than 3, right? Let me 5 greater than 3, and y is greater than 3 greater than 2. Z is true. So in this case, 5 greater than 3 is true. And 3 greater than 3 again true. So whenever we have all truths in the case of and, it is going to be true. Okay. And we can keep adding this expression as many as you want. If you can, even if you want to add an expression with or whatever, you can keep adding it. And not is basically exact opposite to what the Boolean value, for example, if it is true, it is not true is false. If it is false, not false is true. So here, if I add not, basically what does that mean? So not, this is true, but not true is
False.
false. So false and true. In the case of and, even if you have one false, the whole thing will become false. So you get false. That's how it works. Right? So I hope logical operators is clear. The next one is bitwise operators, as I said, is not necessary, and we will discuss that in deep learning. Let me show you this. DL basics. Here you have the AND gate, OR gate, bitwise operator, NAND. So we'll discuss that later. So right now, bitwise operator is not necessary. We'll move on to assignment operators. We have few bitwise assignment operators. So we'll skip these three. Okay. Move on to assignment operators. As I said before, assignment operators, if you want to assign some value to a variable, use single equal to and assign a value. That is for assigning a value. If you use plus, let's take x is 5, right? Let me write this one. X plus, let's take 2. Here, which is basically a shortcut notation. To what? X equal to x plus 2. So this is the full form of this one. So this is just a shortcut notation to this one. So here we have x is basically 5, right? That's exactly what we assign to x. So 5 plus 2, which is 7. X is 7. In some case, when you keep on executing this one, the value obviously will get changed. Not sure what is the value now. I got 15 because I kept on adding it, right? Something like this. Now we will use minus. So for example, let's take minus. What is the current value of x? Which is 15, right? 15. So x equal to x minus 2. This is the full form of this one. So what is the current value of x? 15 minus 2, which is 13. So it has to return 13. The same way we have multiplication also, asterisk. So the full form of that one is this one. What is the current value of the x? 13 multiplied by 2. So in order to be just 2, it can be any value you want. For example, let's take 3, right? 13 multiplied by 3, which is 39. 39. Same way we have division and modulo. So modulo always gives reminder. whereas division gives the quotient part. Then we have seen the division somewhere here, right? Maybe I removed it. Yeah, here we have. This is quotient. Division returns this part, whereas the modulo operator will return the remainder part. Right. So the next one is we have seen multiplication to, yeah, we haven't seen division, right? So x divide, let's take 4, right? So basically x, this shortcut form for this one. So what is x? 39 divided by 4. 39 divided by 4, obviously 4 is 32, 4 9 is 36, 4 10. So 4 9 is 36. So the remainder is 3. For 7 is 28. Remainder is 2. For 5 is 20. I think this will return 9.75, right? This division. Same way we have, okay, I will take let's take x equal to 40. I'm reassigning for modulo. Let's try, let's say 3, okay? X equal to x modulo 3. So what is x? I've taken 40 here. So I'm going to give 40 modulo 3. So what is the remainder here? The 1, 3, and 3 is 9. So remainder is going to be 1. Remainder is 1. Right? Then 3, so 3, 3 is 9. So 3 1s 3, and the remainder part is 3 is 9. So 3. That is 13. Division is 13, but remainder is 1. 40 minus 39 is 1. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, mute yourself so we can avoid any intermittent noise. If you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask me directly. So you not to wait till the end of the session or till I complete the concept. You can immediately ask me the questions. Okay, the next one is power of x double asterisk. Let's take, I will take x as 5. Okay, we have 1. 1 to the power, doesn't matter what is the value, whatever the value that we provide, it's always 1, right? So I have taken x equal to 5. For example, 3. So for 3, right? So this is basically a shortcut form for x equal to x double asterisk, that is power 3. So what is x? 5 to the power 5 cube. 5 cube is 5 is 25, 25 is 125. So 125. Okay. Any questions on assignment operators? Clear?
Yes, Dhamodhar.
The next one is special operators is not, in, not in. Okay, I have taken a list. So this is how we declare a list. Usually we assign only one value, right? Whereas in the list, so basically whenever you have these square brackets and we consider it as a list. Let me create 2 lists, and if you want to check date type of a certain variable, you can use type. You can see it's a list. Even y, the same case, list. Okay. I have taken 2 lists, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 with the same values. I've taken another variable, z, but in this case, I have not declared it like this. Right? I have not assigned an object. Instead, I assign x. So in memory, the way it works is, let's consider this as the memory. X equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For y, it is the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas for z, it is not going to have 1, 2, 3, another object. Instead, we have assigned z equal to x. What is z equal to x? Basically, it points to the same point to this one. So the problem with this method is this point by reference. Those who know Java, C, C++, they know it very well. There is something called point by reference and point by value. So this is point by value. So it has its own values. It has its own object. Whereas for Z, it is pointing to X. So any modifications I do on X will modify Z. Any modifications I do on Z, in fact, I am doing it against X. So X will get modified. For example, here, let me remove this. For example, x plus 2, x plus equal to 2, right? It looks like I have not assigned. Okay. Now, if we try it, int object is not iterable. Okay. Okay, I will try. Okay, so I upload multiplication. So this is not what I really need. But anyway, so if we use x, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Z is, you can see the same thing. Z is also modified because these two are the same ones. Whereas Y, there's no change to this because it's a separate object altogether. So how do we cross-check it? Of course, we have declared it here and we know it very well. But in some case, we may not know. Someone else might have declared it and we don't know it's point by reference or point by value. We may not get the expected output. So X is Y. Is the operator wherein it will help us to find out whether it is point by reference or point by value. For X is Y. Obviously not. It is not point by reference. So is basically for point by reference. Because it's a separate object altogether, so it is written false. Whereas X is Z, it is true because it is point by reference. Even if you flip this one, it's the same thing. Sure. Okay. Whereas E is not. Okay. I hope this is clear. Especially who are completely new to point by reference or point by value, they may get confused with this one. But basically, it is all about memory and how these objects been allocated. And these will help us whether it is point by reference or not. E is not obviously exact opposite. If is operator gives true, not true is false. So you get false here. We don't use this no is not operator frequently, but is operator will help us. No, especially when we are not going to get the expected output, we always cross check whether it is point by reference or point by value. Sometimes we get weird outputs. The reason for that is it might be a point by reference. Ranjana, clear?
No, sir.
Okay, so
It's not
anyway,
clear.
yeah, we don't use this in AI much, but it's all about how these objects been allocated in memory.
So till I mean we choose this Z, I'm clear, like we have two lists, X is one list, Y is one list, and here we are taking one more variable and we are assigning the X to the Z. So the Z will refer the value of X. It will not store the I mean the whole list like into the Z, but it will refer it
Right. So
to the
how do we know whether it is G and Y X are point by reference or not? Is it pointing to it or not? So we use is operator.
okay.
Right? Suppose if
So
Z
this
is Y, there is no reference, right? Y is separate and Z is separate.
yeah.
So there is no reference. So it returns false. It's saying that it is not point by reference. It is
Okay.
separate object altogether.
Okay.
That's all.
And what is the point by value?
Point by value, separate object altogether. Point by value or point by object, separate value, separate object. Y is point by value.
Okay, Y is point by value and X and Z are point by reference.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in and not in, basically, if you have a list, right? If you have a list, let's say that you want to cross check whether a particular value exists in that list or not. For example, let's say 55 in X. So 55 is there in X or not, so which is false. In fact, we don't have 55 here. For example, let's say 3. Do we have 3 in X? That's right. True. It is there. Right? So if you want to cross check whether a particular value exists or not, we can use in. Not in exactly like opposite. If 3 in X, obviously return true, but if you use not in, not of true is false. So we'll get false. Okay. Any questions on special operators?
No, sir.
The next one is math library. So this is the first library that we are using. So basically, the reason why we go for library is, let's say that I have written some code, right? And you want to reuse that one. Let's say otherwise, if I don't create a capability to reuse that code, the one that I have written, obviously what will happen, you have to write from scratch on your own, right? So in order to avoid that, these libraries came into picture, or packages or modules we call it as. Of course, there is a difference, subtle difference between these libraries, packages, and modules. But right now, consider it as the same. The way we import is import math. So here I'm importing math library, but if you want to import something else, just give library name. And as is basically an alias name. Suppose we have math library, and I don't want to. So if you want to math dot shift, so math dot, just press tab. Let me import it first. Math dot tab. You can see you got the complete list of methods or properties that it has, right? Suppose every time you need to write math, log, something like that. Instead, if you want shortcut it, if you want to use a shortcut, an alias, just use m. Now m dot shift tab. Tab will show the complete list. So you need to press dot tab. Now you get this. So let's say C. You got only things that starts with C. I think some are like, even we got few other too. But initially, you can see the complete list here. C starts with C, right? Percent like that. So this is how we import a library. Import the library name, and this part is alias. Alias is optional. It is not must. Even without alias, we can very well do that. But you need to write the complete library name. If it is short, something like this, it's not really need to have an alias. But if it's a long name, right? TensorFlow, something like that. Keras, something like that. Then you will find a lot of difficulty. For now, just remember that this is how we import library name, and we can provide an alias also, alias name, but alias name is an optional. Only when we have longer library names, we prefer to go with alias. In some case, even if it's short, we use it, but it's completely our choice. Import math dot tab will list out all the properties and methods. So this will show the list. There is one way to see the complete list of methods and properties that it has. The other way is dir library name. So in this case, it is math library, right? I'm going to write math. You can see that you got the complete list printed on the screen. But we don't prefer this method. You always go with this method. Okay? Just because it's quite faster and it is right on the line, right?
Dhamodhar,
It's in line. Yeah, go ahead.
So, like in Eclipse or in VS Code, so whenever we mouse hover on a function, so it will explain us with the description and the example how to execute, right? So here, how can I know like what is that function is doing?
So if it is round bracket, within round bracket, press the cursor. If it's method, shift tab will show this one.
Okay.
That's how we can. If it has any, it will show. Otherwise, it will not. Again, it depends on how they have built it, right? So don't expect this kind of output for all. Some may be less, some may be more, but some it may not even have the documentation, so it will not show. Right? The next one is, okay, we'll try to explore libraries. In some case, you will get, even if you try to import some library name, for example, let's take Torch. I got no module named Torch. So sometimes you'll encounter this sort of errors. So what you have to do is open terminal in such case and pip install that library name, whatever the library name or module that you have issue with. For example, in this case, Torch, right? So I'll install Torch. That is installing. After it got installed, if you try it, then it works. It has been installed successfully, Torch. And it's not just Torch. It has installed other library too, because this Torch library depends on another library. So people make sure that it will install not just the library that we want, it install the library associated dependent libraries that we require for this library. Okay, so right now in this case, it has installed two libraries because Torch requires this one. Now we'll try to import it. I haven't got anything. Let me click on this one, restore the kernel. Whenever you install some library, you need to reinstall this kernel. Now let me try it. I haven't got the error. It is taking time to load into memory. And I have not given any alias for this. It's already imported. Because it's a short one, right? Shift dot tab. I got all the methods that it supports. Or you can use dr torch. It will give the complete list of methods and property that it supports. And it is always better to go with this one. Okay. I hope this is clear. And basically the reason why we haven't got any error when we import math is when we install Anaconda. We already installed Anaconda, right? Basically what it does is it's going to install with some very basic libraries pre-install with this one. Basically it's going to be like this. It's Anaconda. It will come with various libraries. So in some case, I don't execute something like this because it comes with Anaconda. So that's the reason I have not installed math. So something like pip install. I have not installed something like this. Even if I try to install it, it says that it's already been installed. I'm saying I'm getting side package is not writable. So maybe I need to open it in run as administrator. Now, if we try it, not find a version that starts. Okay, So it's saying that it's not able to find the math library. Then what you can do is pip math, search for that. You can see that it is not math, it is Python math. So you need to copy this one. Let me execute this one now. Successfully installed. So downloading Python successfully, but the idea is that it's already been installed with Anaconda. So we don't really require to install it. So that's the reason we haven't got error, right? And we got clear IntelliSense now for all the methods. I mean, that what are the methods that it supports. Next one is we will try to explore a few methods in this math library, like exponent, logarithm, power of, square root, ceiling, and pi value. We will complete these four first, and then we will move on to these two. Okay. So the way we need to use power of, we know how to use power of, right? So let's take 5 square, 5 double asterisk. 5 double asterisk means power 5 to the power 2. 5 square is 25. So that's the reason we got 25 here. Same way, we have square root also. I mean, sorry, I forgot to explain one. So this is how we typically write power of. But we can even use math library. It's like the same thing. We can achieve it using math library. The point here is, instead of this one, it's always better to go with this method. The reason for that is readability. If someone who is completely new to Python, they can understand this one rather than this one. They may not know what double asterisk is unless he try to explore it on his own, read the documentation. So it's always better to go with this method if you have an option. But I personally prefer this one. So it's this much short because I need to import math library and then I try to use power, right? So always go with this one, even though this is better. But it's your choice. And the same way we have square root also. What is square root of 25? Square SQRT is the method that we have to use. And let's take 5, right? Let's say 625. What is the square root of 625 is 25. So we can get square root of that. And ceiling value, the other way we can get, let's take 625. We can do something like this, right? 0.5. We can get square root in this manner also. But it's always better to go with this one, or simply one. Instead of 0.5, you can write 1 by. You can do that. Okay. But this is more dirty method than this will give the readability. Next one is ceiling value. Ceiling value and floor value, we have seen it, right? Same concept here. What is the ceil value of 5.2?
6.
Exactly. So it is 6. What about floor value for the same one?
5.
Exactly, without decimal, that's all. Sorry, it is floor, right? Floor. That's right, floor. It's not just ceil, we have floor value also. And we have pi, which is a mathematical constant. 3.1415926. So if this is a property, this is a method. So for methods, we require this round brackets. Method is nothing but a function that is being declared inside the class, right? So we call it as method if it comes with a class. Whereas this one is nothing but a variable, but we call it as property because it's been declared inside the class. So this is a constant, a variable, 3.1415. So any questions on power of, square root, ceiling value, and pi value? Clear? So move on to logarithm and exponent. Before we go to logarithm and exponent, have you heard about a new recent earthquake happened in Turkey and China?
Yes, yes. In the news, we heard.
Right, earthquake. I think some 5.2 earthquake in Turkey, and China, it is somewhere around 4.2 something. what exactly these values are. Let us scale 4.2 or 5.8 or whatever. Those values are not the actual values. I'm going to take some math of E. This is exponent. Okay, this is again another constant. Okay, math dot E to the power 5.2. What is the value what we got? Let's take this is for Turkey. Okay, 1.181.27 something. Math dot E. Let's say China, it is 4.2 something. Even in Pakistan also, it is the same case. 66 points. These are the actual values. So the one that you hear, 5.2, 4.2, is not the actual values. These are logarithmic values. So basically it is E power this one, we get this one. How do we get this value? Math.log, right? Then we apply this one. Base E, we get this one, 4 point. This is how we get. So they take the value and they apply logarithm base E. So how do we write this one? Log 66.683, so whatever, base E. This is how we write it. And first and foremost, why do we even need this one? Okay. For example, why we are applying this log base E power, whatever. Take an example, a simple example. Let's say that you know what is plot, right? 2, 4, 8, 10. Here the x units is 2 because the distance is 2, right? 2 units. Same way we have 5. Can we take like this? Or it has to be 2, 4, 20. The y units here is 5. The distance is 5. Okay, we can even write 1, 2, 3, 4, making sure that x units we clearly mentioned as 1. Or we can even write 100, 200, 300 like that. So the x unit should be 100 in that case. So for now, in this case, it is 2. I hope this is clear. So the whole idea of the visualization is if we get millions of records, let's say that I have a data of million records, 10 lakh rows, wherein it's showing the way it has been growing up, the organization is the way it grows. Let's say that it is based on profit. Okay, it clearly shows the company is growing. By looking at the data, is there any way, just like 10 lakh records, is there any way that you can say the same thing without visualization? By reading all the data? Obviously not, right? It's not humanly possible. By looking at some 10 lakh records and say that, okay, this is growing, or no, this is declining. No, this is stagnant. It is very difficult to say that. So visualization basically hooks up the whole data and gives the form in which it is in. Right? Any questions on this?
Yeah, could you repeat one more time?
Basically, the whole idea of visualization is to hook up the data and show the form in which it is in. Otherwise, if you have 1 million records in Excel or some database, is it possible to get the same conclusion that it is growing or declining? We don't even, it's difficult, right? Difficult to interpret, isn't it? You need to stay focused and
So
be more
how it is I mean connected with the log value? I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, I'll explain that later. So I'll explain it now. So once this is being clear, we will move on to the next one.
Okay.
Right? So you know what is visualization? So visualization is all about if we By humanly, it's not possible to read multiple records, multiple rows of data. Let's take you have 100 columns of data and you have 1 million records, 10 lakh rows. It is not possible to read the whole data and understand that this is the situation right now it is. So we come up with visualization so that we can easily understand it. Now the point is, for example, let's take that we have some data, something like this.
We can understand the pattern. What is the pattern inside the data?
Exactly. So we can understand the pattern. What if we have data something like this? 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, something like this. How do we write that one here? Let's take 1 here. Consider this as 0. The distance is 1. Units is 1, right? And where do we need to write 10? Somewhere here. And how do we write 100? Theoretically, it may be possible, but the whole idea of visualization is to understand the data, something that we don't understand directly by looking at the data, right? Again, it is causing the same issue. It is going to be humongously huge graph, something that we can't understand by looking at it, isn't it? The same problem is when again we are going through the same problem, especially when the data is in this form. We call this as exponentially growing. So when the data is in this form, it is exponential data because exponentially is growing up. So even if we try to write 10 here, considering it as units 10, where do we write 100? Because the distance we have taken is 10. So the 100 should be somewhere here. And 1,000 should be somewhere, I can't even write it. The idea is, if it is in sequential data, sequentially growing up, something like this, the graph works. Whereas if the data grows in exponential form like this, 1, 10, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Here it is 10 power 0, 10 power 1, 10 power 2, 10 power 3. 1,000 is 10 power 3, right? 10,000 is 10 power 4. Basically, it is all 10 powers. It not be just 10. It can be even 5 or 4 or 3. It can be even 2.384, something like that. The base can be anything. This is what we call it as base. So something that it is growing to the power of something else. Okay, base, and it is growing at the rate of power to the power of something. Let's say it can be m, can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 100 or 1,000. If the data is growing in this manner, it is not possible to plot a graph. What if we don't? What if we can't plot a graph? The same case. Take back the same example. Earthquake. Let's take the earthquake seismograph. Right? We have a drum. Okay, this is drum. Right? What if we get some value or something like this? So we need never-ending drum. I mean to say, the width should be so huge that it should not end. We need drum. I mean to say. So huge that it can plot a graph. So something like that. Let's say we got a graph like this. Is the drum enough? Obviously not, right? Because these values, even though it appears as if it is vector scale 4.2 or 5.2, but the difference is so huge, 181.66, right? Let's take that, we take some 8.9. What is the difference? 7,331. Is it possible to plot a graph on this drum? It has to be so huge, right? Which is again lead to, again it will lead to difficulty in interpreting this graph again. Even if there is a possibility to have a huge drum, huge width drum, again, we need to visualize it. The whole idea of visualization is to understand the data. If it is so huge, it is difficult to look at it at one glance and understand it. So what do we do is we apply logarithm. Basically, we go with here we have given 10 power something, right? Here I have given 10 power 1, 10 power 2, or 5 power 1, 5 power 2, or 4 power 1. But in real world, especially for scientific experiments, they understood that math.e is the right constant to take it. Because that is what they observed. They observed that this is all the scientific data is growing with this value, especially when it is exponential. So they have taken this as a constant, math.e. So e to the power, this one will give us this one. So basically, what we are trying to do, we are taking the value and we are trying to find out what is to the power of this one. So basically, math.e to 4.2 is 66, right? We are trying to find the power of this one. Instead of taking the actual value, we are taking the power of this one. For example, in this case, 10, we are taking powers. So instead of 10 power 0, 10 power 1, this is 1, 10, 100. I'm going to take 10 as a base, and I'm going to take only the powers. So in that case, it's going to be 0. Next value is going to be 1. Next value is going to be 2, 3, 4. This is sequential, right? Instead of taking these values, I hope you're getting the point now, right? So instead of taking the actual values, that is 1, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, so on and so forth, I'm just taking the powers. Now I can easily draw a visualization. Same as that of this one. So these are not the actual values. These are e to the power values. Because if we take the actual values, the width of this drum is not enough. Here, what is the difference between why we need to use logarithm and exponent?
Yes.
So logarithm, you might have heard about logarithm in school days or even college. You may not know why we need to use logarithm or even exponent. Okay. So if you want to get logarithm of some base, for example, let's take 10, you can very well write it. But by default, Shift tab, I'm pressing it. By default, it assumes that you are working on some scientific data, right? Math.t. So in real world, always prefer to go with math.t, not 10 or 5 or 3, whatever. But if you have such data that is growing at a rate of 10 power something or 5 power something, you can always go with this one. You can always go with your own choice. Okay. But if they don't mention anything, it is assume that it is e to the power this value will give us. We're getting e to the power value of e with this log. Ranjana, clear?
Sir, little one.
Okay, go through the video again. You will understand it.
Yeah, I'll go through it again. Yes,
The
yes.
reason why I came up with this example, these are a more real world example.
Yes, yes, yes.
So it is even I draw this one. So it is not possible to have a huge line.
Yeah,
And
the
yet
basic one I understood. Yeah, basic one, like we cannot express these big values on the on some paper or some document. So just we for the reference we use the log value to reduce to show its reduced form.
there are 3 levels I explained it. So first level is why we need visualization. Okay, a humongous amount of data. We
Yeah.
need to hook up and see it in one glance. Because
Yeah.
it's not humanly possible to read the complete content, complete data,
Yes.
and so that is the purpose of visualization. Then the second one I came up with is 10 power something,
Yeah.
right? So what if the data grows in this way? It's not possible to plot it. Next one
Yes.
is I came up with this one and I explained about E. So it is basically explained it in sequential form. So if you go through the video again, you can understand it.
Yeah, sure, sure.
All right. So the next one, okay. So it is 8:59. We'll take some 10 minutes break. Okay, 9:10 we'll meet back again, and then we'll start this one. From, yeah, I think math library has been completed. We will start back from this one, variables. Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like looking bit dull, Kishan. Longer sessions, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Now the
Input
time is
more
11:30.
Okay, it's almost midnight, right?
Yes. It's almost midnight. So even
I
if you
can
remember
understand
on
that.
the demo session, I slept actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I request you to put effort for next 3 to 4 months.
No problem, no problem. And moreover, these are the kind of basics, right? So I'm a bit on the downside. But yeah, anyway, I will keep focused.
Sure. And try
Uh,
to repeat 3 to 4 times. It's not just understanding the concept while
yes,
practicing.
yes.
Try to repeat 3 to 4 times so that you can remember it. Don't try
Yeah.
to remember things. I mean to say, if you keep repeating it, obviously you will remember it.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So we'll meet back at 9:10.
Okay. 9,
Yeah.
10. Okay. Sure.
It is 9 o'clock now. 9:01. It is. We will meet back in another 9 minutes.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I am back, Dhamodhar.
All right. So what about Ranjana?
I think she will be back. Currently, which company you are working, Dhamodhar?
Brilio Technologies. Brilio. Yeah.
Brilio.
Brilio. BRILLI.
BRILLIO. Oh, Brilio. Okay. Great. And how many years total your experience?
I started my career in 2007, and
Oh,
initially I started as a .NET developer, but
oh,
did work out. So then moved to SQL data related projects,
okay.
SQL development, and then
SQL developer. Okay.
yeah, I worked there for a couple of years on SQL development, and then 5 to 6 years on SQL Server DBA.
Okay. Great.
That during the decision period, I moved to 2008.
Yes.
DBA. 5 6 years almost I worked on DBA, and then the remaining years, almost from 6 7 years, I'm working on this one,
Oh,
data
great.
science, AI, generative AI.
Great, great. So you are BTech, I mean, or
No, I
MC?
did my bachelor's in science and the MBA in healthcare management.
Okay, so after MBA, you started your professional career, or you did
No,
executive MBA in between?
after BSc, I completed in 2004. I worked in
Oh,
customer care service. This one, Reliance.
okay, okay,
CDMA
great.
mobiles, you might have heard, right? So
Yes,
we
yes,
used to
yeah.
support from Tamil Nadu, Chennai.
Okay. I work for actually, I work for BSNL and Vodafone clients while I'm in
Oh,
TCS.
okay.
So I passed out in year 2008,
Mm-hmm.
BTech Mechanical. So I got selected in campus in 2007 for
Okay.
TCS.
Okay.
So from 2009 till 2016, I was with TCS Hyderabad.
Okay.
I worked for many European clients and domestic clients.
Okay.
And later I resigned and I went to a product-based company. From 2016 to 2023, I worked for a product-based company, which is into
Okay.
mortgage industry. In
Okay.
TCS, I was mainly into telecom industry.
Okay.
And coming to this product-based, it was in mortgage industry.
Broad instance,
And
what kind of work you do there? So it's a product
ah,
development.
no. I am not into development. I was completely into QA.
Okay. Got it.
QA, but in the recent years, since QA no more QA, so we are all doing
Yeah.
the support. I mean, it's after Agile, safe. We are all like doing whatever we can support to the project.
Okay.
But earlier initial days of my career, like till 10 years of my experience, I was purely like functional QA.
Mm.
I used to, I mean, because the project which I am working, they never allowed me to, shift. I mean, they are good
Mm.
with that. They want that functional knowledge, and also I continued in that way. But
So.
nowadays, I'm using Playwright, TypeScript with
Mhm.
VS Code, and also used Eclipse, Java with Selenium, and
Right.
even Python. Also, I learned actually the core level. There is
Okay.
some certification, so I did it. So tried many. I mean tried
Many.
many things
Yeah.
to change my vertical, but none of them gave me breakthrough. So I thought of at least trying
No,
to
with
this.
that amount of experience, you definitely crack through. So it's not really difficult. But
Yes.
usually, those who work in TCS, they don't like to move out of TCS. But unless
Ah,
they get bored.
yes. But for me, what happened is they moved my project to Adipatla. So daily from JNTU to Adipatla, I cannot. It's very hard for me to travel. So
Okay.
even though they have their own buses, I felt like I'm a school kid, daily running back of the buses, and also I
Okay.
resigned and I joined in Begumpet, one of the US company. So in 23 July, I made my H1 with a consultancy here,
Hmm.
and I moved to the US, and I worked for 1 year in for contract base,
Hmm.
and now I got into a full time here.
Okay.
So
Basically,
it's
like if someone need a job support on AI or data science or generative AI, please let us know. So we do provide a job support also.
Sure. Definitely.
All right. So Ranjana.
Good to know
So I
about
was
your
listening.
background.
Actually, I was listening to your conversation. I also just want to add that I also started my work with the CDMA only. I
Okay.
started working in Reliance.
Oh, is
Uh,
it?
yeah,
Great.
in 2000. Yeah, it was in 2007 and 8.
Okay, in
And
Chennai.
no,
Chennai or
not in
Mumbai?
Chennai, sir. No, not in Mumbai. I went for the training, but I was in UP, so I was looking for the area of UP East.
Okay.
I
So
was
earlier it used to be only in two locations. One was in Mumbai, and for South it is in Chennai. Lucas Towers, the Americop Towers. Lucas.
Oh, okay. So I am talking. I mean, I was there when the GSM was about to start in Reliance. It
Okay.
was the year of 2007 to 8. So
Yeah.
yeah, I worked here about 11 months. After that, I landed on my government job. So I
Okay.
left Reliance. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, Reliance is very good company for the
Good
exposure and
company,
all.
but it's horrible experience to me. It's the too many calls, especially I work for Andhra,
Okay.
and the United Andhra at that time. It's
Okay.
all the too many calls and too much noise, and I used to get, I know, I used to, get bleeded from my ear. So
Okay.
I gave up after 1.5 years.
Okay. So that depends which department we are working. I was working in MCN. I was working like an MSc engineer over there.
Okay.
So yeah, but although we are also into that, like getting understanding the call logs and understanding what is the problem, which call is not, why the call is not maturing, what is the problem customer is facing, but not directly on the customers. We get the data like every day we get the logs wherein we have to find it why what is the problem, like somebody is like roaming to some other location and
Hmm.
their phone is not working.
Though it is
So
very less for your, I mean, thing. But in my
yes,
case, I directly get calls through IVR. So
yes.
that
So
was
yeah,
way too difficult
that
for
was
us.
on the like if in my case if it is not happening, then we have to check in the MSC. I mean the switches like why the call is not maturing.
Hmm.
If like is the overloaded, we have to add some events in that kind of things. It was like a many years back, just in the words, not I nothing is in my brain now how we were doing it.
Mine was like 2005, 2006. So that was
Okay, that
even
was all
more.
more early.
Yes. Anyway,
Oh. So
yeah.
currently, Ranjana, what you are doing currently?
Sir, I'm not working currently. I moved to US into 2023. I was working in India. I just, resigned my job. I took
Oh,
a work break. My husband is working here in US.
oh,
So I have two daughters. So just initially I was coming and going, getting my leaves from there, but it was not working. I was not able to make the good balance between
it's
here
hard.
and India. So I just decided to quit, and still I'm waiting for my EAD. It's not yet
Yes.
came.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe in the three or 4 months it will come. Then I need to start
All
my
right.
job search.
So we will
Yeah,
get back to the subject.
yeah,
Uh,
sure.
okay. So
Okay.
yeah. So variables, like we already see how to create a variable, right? How to declare a variable and assign a value. And if you want to check the data type of any variable or even that includes object, for example, uh, my list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Even if you want to check data type of that list, you can always use type. That is how we can declare a variable or even an object. Here we have list, but we have many other types of objects too. For example, here we have, right, this is list, this is completely on list. And here we have dictionaries, sets, and tuples also. These are the other built-in data structures that we have it in Python. So another one, let me take a y, or maybe a more descriptive variable name, something like this. So this is how we declare a string. If we check string, the variable, and it is string. So whether it is one character, single character, or a word, or even a whole sentence, or even document, it's all string, unlike Java. So wherein the character is different, right? A word is different, and the whole document is different thing altogether. Whereas here it is only string, because Python is a bit high level language, whereas Java, C, C++, there are low level languages. Low level languages, it goes into more detailed stuff, whereas Python is a high level language that simplifies how do we write the code. Okay. So this is how we declare a variable and check the data type. And we have many other data types also. We'll see an example each here, like bool, bin, float, complex, and all.
So, sir, what is the difference between variable and object? What you said above?
In fact, variable is like this one. This is a variable. My list is a variable.
Yes.
Right. Whether it is a single value, so you can see that type here, it is int. Whereas this
Yes.
one is a whole
It's
structure.
less.
I mean, it is more than one value.
Yeah.
Depends on the kind of structure the data is in. So we pick the right built-in data structure. Here I have explained only about lists, but we will
Yes.
explore more, like dictionaries and all. Right? So you'll understand much better when we go through in detail about list, dictionary, dictionaries, sets, and tuples.
So these dictionaries, I mean, this kind of data sets are called object, and when we define the single, I mean, like x equals to 5, it's like a single, it's a variable. Is
Right.
it like that?
So basically, like in memory, the way it stores is different. With x equal to 5, whereas let's take y equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. This is usually basically the reason why we call this object is it basically internally will have a class. So we create an object on top of this. Right? For example, we declare something like class, right? Some class name.
Okay.
We declare some function here, or let's take z equal to 5. So these functions are, we call it as objects. Sorry, this we create an object. I mean to say, let's take my class. Okay, this is an object. So the reason why I call this an object, because internally it will have a list kind of class like this. So whenever we declare an object like this, it's going to consider, okay, I mean to say, whenever we declare something like this, it creates an object in this form. This class is basically like a blueprint. For example, you have a car, a design being given by engineer. That is blueprint. But is that a real car? Obviously not. The object is kind of real class. They manufactured it, the design, as per the design. So that object, the actual product is object. So this is how we know whenever declare an object, it creates it in memory. It will create some space to it, memory to it. And then whatever we do, it will get added to this one.
Okay.
Whereas for variables, it will not have a dedicated space. It will have space, but it will not have a blueprint behind it.
Yes.
Right. Okay. The next one is dynamically typed. Dynamically typed in the sense, for example, let's take x equal to 5. What is the data type? It is an integer. Right. Suppose if I change from 5 to 5.2, automatically change to float, whereas in Java, C, C++, this may not be allowed. Once you declare a variable, and you need to mention the data type also, right? Once you declare the data type, you cannot change to another data type value. Whereas in Python, it's completely flexible. Based on the value you provide, it automatically detects the data type, assigns the data type. If you change it, it automatically changes back again to the respective data type, whatever the new value is in. For example, let's take x equal to my string, the string, right? If you check type, it is string. The same variable in various forms based on the value that we provide. Whereas in other programming language, it is not allowed. Of course, it will have its own issues when there is no type safety. So that's the reason why type safety is very important. And declaring data type is very important in other languages. Whereas Python need to be considered as high-level language. Right? It simplifies even for a beginner. A beginner person can easily write a code in Python. Whereas in C, C++, Java, it's very difficult. A lot of people, why they move to Python is, earlier it used to be a lot of constraints related to memory and space. In the early 1990s or even the early 2000s. So the hardware is very expensive. I think you might have heard about pen drives in 2007, 2008. Till then, we haven't even heard pen drives, because it used to be a very huge one, huge disk, bulky disk, right? And those are very expensive at that point of time. Having some 200 gigs of disk space, is very expensive. Now things got even cheaper and more faster, and even a small pen drive can have hundreds of gigabytes. So in those years, C, C++, Java were has been built in those days, wherein they focus more on memory and how to consume resources in a more efficient, optimized manner. Whereas Python, that is not the case. Python is a more modern language, even though it was started way back in late 1990s, but it is a more modern language. Okay, it simplifies how we write the code. It does not bother about resource, utilization, optimization. Still, Java is preferred, or C, C++ is preferred for research, whereas when it comes to application side, so we prefer Python. Okay. I don't know how much you got it, but I'll keep explaining whenever you ask me a question. So, all right, the next one is data types. So I will give one example each for each of these data types. These are the data types that Python supports. Bool is nothing but true or false, right? True. How do we check data type? It is bool. Bool stands for Boolean. Okay. And it can be false, still a bool. Let's take 5, it is an integer, integer. Let's take float, which has decimal, float. A complex number, usually in this form, x plus y, j. It's not I. Usually imaginary numbers in mathematics, we represent with I, right? 2 plus 3i, right? It is usually be in this form. It usually be in a plus ib form. Even if we don't have a, if we still have ib, it is still a complex number. For example, let's take 2 plus 3 j. We don't write I in Python, we write with j. It is complex. If you try to write I, expect that it is a variable, throws error. So always careful with that change. In mathematics, we represent it with I, imaginary number, whereas in Python it is j. Even if we skip this one, it is still complex number because it is still in a plus x plus y j form, right? We can write 0. So it is still in complex number. String, you have seen it, whether it is double quotes or single quotes, the same thing. There's subtle difference between using single quotes and double quotes. I'll explain that later. This is string. Single quotes, double quotes are acceptable, so it doesn't matter. But don't combine both. So one single quote, another double quote, obviously doesn't work that way. Either single quotes or double quotes. List, is going to be in square brackets. We can write multiple values. Sorry. It is list. Whereas dictionary is going to be in this form, curly brackets. It's going to be in the form like key val combination. It is going to be in this form. For example, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Dictionary. Dict stands for dictionary here. It has to be in this form. If you provide something like, let's say, it doesn't work that way. It has to be key val combination. The key can be anything. It can be even string. Okay, some X. Right? It can be even string. That is acceptable. The values can be anything. It can be a single value, or it can be another list or a dictionary. It can be even another dictionary. We'll see that later. But for now, we'll see an example each to explore the various data types that we have in Python. Right? And the tuple is going to be in this form, round brackets. Just like the way we have it in list, we have tuples too. The difference between list and tuples, we will see that later with an example. For now, just to understand the tuple, we need to wrap it in round brackets, whereas list, we need to wrap it in square brackets. Whereas set is basically curly brackets again. But unlike dictionary, we are not going to have key val combination. It is just elements, element 1, element 2, element 3, and all. Right? These are the data types that Python supports. Any questions?
No, Dhamodhar.
No, sir.
All right. So one thing is that it's already too late. I can understand that. It's almost midnight. And one more thing is it's long sessions, right? So you need to sustain that energy. Okay. So understand that you have picked the weekend session. I mean, it's a weekend batch. So obviously it's going to be longer. We can't have 1 hour, a day and still can be able to complete in 3 months. It'll take at least 9 months to can go with 1 hour session. Okay. So I hope you can understand the problems that involved in weekend batch. Typecasting is converting from one data type to another data type. Suppose we have 5.2, which is obviously float, right? Let me, yeah, it's float. But if you want to convert into integer, let's take X, we can able to do that. But can we have the same value after conversion? It has to be 5, right? But still we got 5.2 because we have not assigned it back. You have to assign it after conversion. Okay, the same case for float also. So you can convert into float. You can see 5.2. So what do you think this is? What kind of data that it may return? Is it string or number or float? I mean, say integer or float or string? What kind of number it is? What kind of data that it may return?
String.
String, because even though it's a number, it is still a string. So can we convert into a float? Obviously we can. Or can we convert into integer? It's already converted. So integer, yes, we can. As long as it's compatible. For example, let's take that I have string. Can I convert into integer? No. We can't convert a string into an integer because it's not compatible. It has to be compatible. If it is number, it makes sense, right? We
Yes,
can convert it. But the problem is that you can, even for integer, I mean, some number I got an error. Because it is float and trying to convert in int. So the better way to solve this is convert to float first and then integer. Solve this issue. Okay, that is typecasting. Typecasting is all about converting from one data to another. Even we can convert, let's take 5, I can convert into a string. No issues. In fact, we can convert any value to a string. No restrictions. And when you convert from string to another data type, always you need to be careful. Just apply common sense. Whether it is so whether it makes sense or not. If it doesn't make any sense, then obviously it throws error, even if you try it.
So is these two are the available, I mean, castings we have?
No, we can convert to another data type also.
Okay.
But we
Yeah,
usually
yes,
go
yes.
with infloat, float in real world, real time. So I have given examples of string
Yes,
in
yes.
float. Complex numbers and all, we don't use it, so it doesn't make any sense giving examples.
In Java, we have concept of upcasting and downcasting, right? So
Right.
are they available in Python as well? Like upper to
This
lower?
upper layer data type, I mean say float 32 to float 16 kind of.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We have examples on that.
Okay.
And we have it in NumPy, so we'll see that. This is core Python. We have another library where it provides all sorts of data types, float 32, float 16 kind of. And the one that you are speaking is basically um, so let me show it right here itself. So basically it's going to be like this. Import numpy as np and np dot sc types. So these are all the types of data that it's supposed. We can downcast or upcast or whatever. We can do that. As for numpy arrays, so we predominantly work on arrays. Okay, so the next one is strings, but strings will try to explore a bit more. For example, let's take machine learning, right? It will have internal index. For example, machine learning, it will have internal index. M is basically the Python index always starts with 0. The 0th index, it is M. First index, it is A, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So including space, it's 7. You can see the 7th index, it will have an empty space. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if you want to get the length of number of elements that it has, you can use len, you can see 16. Whereas if you want to pick a particular, that's a character, let's take L. What is L index? 8. So I can write 8. Okay. Or let's take that I want to get I. So the index is 4. So I can write 4. We can even write a range of indexes. For example, I want to get CHIN. Start index is 2. End index is 5. So we need to mention 2 colon 5. That is how we provide index. But there is one glitch with this one. Let me excuse this. What we got here is CHI, but we haven't got N, even though we have mentioned 5. Right? We have clearly mentioned 5. The reason for that is start index is inclusive, whereas the end index is the outer bound we call it as this is inner bound, this is outer bound. The outer bound is not inclusive, it's exclusive. It's not going to get included. So we need to add +1 to it. That is 6. Now we got this one. Okay, index is very, no, you need to understand this concept at any cost because you're going to use it quite frequently, both in the next topics also, like NumPy, pandas, and all. Indexing Python always starts with 0. That is number one rule, right? The other thing is like you can provide a single index and get the value, get appropriate character. In this case, it's I. Or even a range of values, but always make sure the outer bound is not going to get included. So if you mention 5, it's going to stop right at 4. If you mention 6, it is going to stop right at 5. So we know to get up to here, we need to mention 6. Okay. What if I don't mention the outer bound? What happened here? So can you observe and find out like what really has happened if I don't mention the outer bound? Here you have
it will print from that position to end of the string.
The second index is here till the end. It has printed till the end. So when we don't mention it, it means that it is up to the end. What if I don't, let's take 6, right? What if I don't mention the start index? What happened here? Up to 6, that means up to 6 in the sense, it's not going to get included, right? Outer bound is not going to get included. It's going to stop right here. So it has printed up to here. So when we don't mention the start index, it is going to consider as 0. That is start index. So it has printed up to n, say MACHIN, MACHIN. Okay, so when you have question, if you have any questions, ask right when and then explain when I was explaining that concept. So please don't ask at the end of the concept. Okay. Anyway, you're only 2, right? So 2 members we have. So you can always unmute yourself and raise questions. I don't mind if someone interrupts me. So
sure.
All right, Ranjana.
Yeah, I got the concept for slicing. Sir, can we get some material with, I mean, some question kind of things with which we can practice the slicing?
Okay. Thing is that if you follow the video and keep practicing it with the new notebook, that itself is a kind of, question answer kind of. If you're getting one. If you need notes, of course, you already have it.
No, sir, because sir, it's a kind of assignment kind of things on slicing it, only the slicing concept, because it is very important, as you said, like in further topics also. So yeah, because it's very confusing also. All of a sudden when I see something, I also still get confused, like what could be the right answer for that.
The point is, it's rather than more about, it's not really about confusion. If you listen to the session, it's more about remembering things. So basically, you are trying to do 2 things. One, try to understand the concept, at the same time, try to remember things. So in order to remember things, just repeat it. And so in order to practice in order to understand this slicing more better, just follow the video and try to practice. You will understand it well. I mean to say, I tried to explain with various examples, various use cases. Those use cases are very good and very much good enough.
Okay, sir.
So I'm trying with various types, right? So you can see that I started with just single index, and then I gave range of values, but I haven't got the expect output. So then I explained about outer bound, and then I try to omit the outer bound, and then with just 2, and then I try to omit inner bound, and then try to explain the concept. This is good enough to understand the concept well. Okay, and then you can try a number of things on top of it. It's completely your choice. Okay, and I will provide assignments, but for projects.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, any questions on this? Clear?
Yes.
Okay, there is one more thing. Another colon 1. So by default, it will give every value. So I mean to say in that particular range. So it means that even if we don't mention it, you're not going to see any change. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. But if you want an alternate value, for example, let's take that if you completely omit this one, what happens? It is going to print complete string, right? Let me add this step. We call it a step. By default, it is 1. It's going to print every character. If we mention 2, what happens is it's going to print the first character, and then what is second character for M? It is C. So it's going to print C. What is second character for C? It is I. So it's going to print I. Let's see the output. So you can see that M, C, I, M, C, I, E, space is also a character. L, A, N, N, right? That is how it works. It's going to print every alternate character because we have given 2. If we don't mention anything, it is by default 1. So if you want to mention, get all the characters, you don't really require this one. But for always alternate character, let's take what about 3? So what kind of output you get? You think we get by mentioning 3? Of course, first character is M, and then what will be the next character?
3H.
Exactly. So from M, what is the third character for from M? It is H. What will be the next character, Ranjana?
Sir, that would be the 1, 2, 3. It would be E.
Exactly. So it's E. And then what will be the next character?
That would be the 1, 2, 3. Again, it's again E.
So space is also a character,
Yeah.
right? Again E.
Yeah.
And from here, what is the third character? So we need to keep on N, kind of. What is the third character from N? Again, it is G, and so on and so forth, right? Because here it is 1, 2, and 3. Space is also a character. And one more interesting thing, so I will show you the output first. Okay. Basically, when we don't mention anything here, it is start index and end index. It's going to give the complete set. You can give your own range if you want. Okay. You can see -1. Let's see the output. So what do you think that we got here? The same string. Exactly. So it's basically the printing in reverse order. The reason for that is it is not just the positive index. We have something called negative index also. It starts from the end. So -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on and so forth. The same 15, let me show you this. Same 15. What do we get? Obviously, corresponding value Z. Whereas for -1, if I mention -1, we got G2. So we have both positive index and negative index. You always prefer to go with positive index. Then why do we even need negative index? One good example is this one. We can use it as a step to print it in reverse order. The other, use case is, let's take that you want to print the last character. Which method you prefer, X15 or X -1? What is the problem in using this one? I prefer this one over this one. So what do you think that the problem is with this one?
Yeah,
So
for X.
15.
Go ahead.
Sir, if we write 15, it will print N.
It's the same result, right? You can see
Yeah.
the last character, 15 or -1. You can use either of these.
Yeah.
I personally prefer this one. Yeah.
For writing X of 15, we need to know the length of the string first.
Exactly. So we need to, in order to print the last character, I need to understand the index, right? I mean to say, the index or at least the length -1. So as the Python starts with 0, so if it is 16 characters, it is 16 -1, 15. So I need to understand that. I need to know that. But whereas when it comes to -1, I'm not too bothered about it. Just -1 always prints -1. Sorry, last character. Another problem is what if there is a removal? For example, let's take I removed it. -1, I mean to say from here I removed G. Right? Whereas -1 still return, let me explain this. -1 returns N, because that's the last character. Whereas 15, it throws an error. Let's see that. Because with this kind of hard coding, we thought that it has 16 characters. The last index obviously ends with 15, and we hard coded it and we got an error. Any modifications to the original string will throw an error. So that is another problem with by hard coding. Of course, what we can do is len of x minus 1, we can do that. But it's always better to, 1 second. Excuse me. Boss. You can try this one. There's nothing wrong in it, but it's better to go with -1, right? Rather than that one, rather than that method. I hope this is clear now. So why do we need to use negative index? When we need to use it, always prefer positive index, except when you want to print in reverse order or the last characters. Don't try to use negative index for range. For example, -1, -7. Don't try to do that. So it's always even though I can explain this concept like why we got blank, but don't try this. 1 second, another guy is keep on disturbing. See here, what happened is -1, the last value that is -1, it is going from here to checking for -7. After this, not prior to this one. So if we flip this one, -7, -1, now we get the expected output. Maybe in reverse order, of course, but -7, somewhere like this, 5, 6, 7, so from here to up to here. But we don't prefer this one. Rather, use positive index, right? So from here, this is 9 to till last. So I don't require to mention this one. And then -1. 9. Okay. -5, -6, -7. Okay, this in fact, this is the right output. But when it comes to -7, -1, learning. Okay. Minus learning. Why -5, -6, -7? Why it's going here? Okay, maybe okay. The reason for that is I have not given it right. So I removed it earlier. Now ERNING. So minus, yeah, from here. Whereas this one is basically printed in reverse order. Same thing. Till the last one, but this will not get included. The outer one is not going to get included. Now this is clear, right? So, okay, I think making you more confused. Thing is that don't use native index for slicing. Use in 2 cases. One, to print it in reverse order. We have a better method also for reverse order, to print it in reverse order. Or pick the last characters. Last one, last but one, last but one, but two, kind of. But don't use it for slicing. It's always very confusing. Always prefer positive index, but if you need in reverse order of that particular range of values, use -1. Okay, clear? Any questions on slicing?
Clear.
Ranjana?
No, sir. Good. I understood.
Okay, the next one is I will finish off with this one, and then next Saturday we will start list. So basically, the list that I have given in here, use it as a reference. None, false, zeros like 0, 0.00J, decimal, and this is decimal library. In fact, decimal dot decimal 0 means 0.0. Okay, which is not equivalent to this one. fraction of fraction is 0 by 1. 0 by 1 is nothing but 0. Empty list. Empty is just square brackets, nothing else. Dictionary or tuple or string, empty string, right? These are all the cases that we need to consider as falsy cases. Why it's going to be and how it's going to be helpful? Let's take that you write an if condition like this and you pass a condition, right? When the expression is very clear and if you know the output, right? So then things are, you don't need to really bother about this. What if you want to write a condition like this, 0, or let's take -1. Will this condition, will this expression be considered as true or false? Every programming language changes when it comes to wherein it attains, it is going to consider as truthy or falsy cases. In Python, these are the lists that you have to remember. If you want me to cook up all this and explain it in a few words, if it is 0 or empty, it is going to be considered as false. The remaining cases is going to be considered as true. Even if it is -1, it is not 0 or empty, right? Or false, right? Straight away false. So then it's going to be considered as true. In fact, these statements will execute even if it is -1, because these are not 0, these are not empty, these are not false directly. So this expression will be considered as true. Okay, I have even given example -5. So these statements will get printed. What if it is 0? We got only statement 3. We haven't got this because it is considered as false. Of course, false is of course false. Only this statement got executed. What if it is -55? Especially being a Java developer or some other programming language background. So you will get confused whether this will consider as true or not. What if this is blank? It considers as false. So for reference, use this one. Or in short, if it is 0 or blank, consider as false. Okay, clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Any questions in today's session? And there are a few other concepts. Okay, we'll continue the next sessions.
Yeah, no problem, Dhamodhar. We will check with Venkat Gar for recording of this.
Sure.
I think we have a WhatsApp group created.
Right.
So check there.
Any questions or feedback?
So how can I get the access for this? What we learned today, the access of I mean.
Please share your email ID. Okay, all right. So good questions. Please share your email ID in chat.
Okay, sir.
Once I get confirmation from Venkat sir that you have been enrolled to the course, I will add to Google Classroom. You both enrolled to the course, right?
No, sir. My fees is still pending. I need to submit my fees today.
Okay. So once I get confirmation from Venkat sir,
sure,
I will add. Let me explain this. So how it works.
I made the payment.
Yeah. So I will add and show to you so that you can understand it well. You have something called Google Classroom. I will add his email ID over there. So right now we don't have Classroom, so I'm going to create one. So it is GenAI VLR. It's weekend batch starts on May 18th. All right. Create. So you will get an email shortly. So once I add here, check your email box. Gmail. It could be even spam. So check spam too. The best way to search is search from with my email ID. Here I have my email ID, right? So I'm going to copy it in chat. So this is the email ID. Search for this email ID, both in inbox and spam. Something called invite from Google Classroom, and accept it. Once you accept it, it will get reflected here. So then you can go to Classroom, and whatever the materials that I add here, you can easily download it.
Yeah, I accepted the invitation.
Okay, so let me refresh then. Okay, you accepted the invitation. Okay, let me add Python scripts here now, so that it can access it or not. Let me add your email ID also. I think you copied it here, right? So, by this chat. ML, Python. Okay, check it now. So you get something like this. When you click on Python scripts, show zip file. You need to right click on it, open link in new tab. Okay, don't simply click on the zip file. The problem when you click on this one is, let's say that you clicked on this one, but you're not going to get download option here. So in that case, again, you need to click on these three dots, open new window. So instead, it's always better to right click on the zip file, open new tab, and you will get this download option here.
Okay.
So when you click on this, you will get a zip file. You need to, so always make sure that you have to have at least 300 to 500 gigs of free space in your drive. Create a new drive if you don't have any.
Okay.
And copy all the files that I shared in that common drive. In my case, I have created a folder like this, right? I copy all the files in this.
Okay.
And once you unzip this, you're going to get something like this. And you know how to open Jupyter Notebook, right? I explained at the start of the session.
Yes, yes.
Ranjana, clear?
Yes, sir. I did the online payment
Okay.
to on the number which they have given to me.
Okay. So I will add right now. So 1 second.
Yeah.
So is this classroom instead of Google Drive, we can directly access from Classroom?
The Classroom is more better than Google Drive.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we can have a constructive way to show the content.
So
we
yes,
have,
yes. So instead of you
here.
sharing individual Google Drive links, you paste whatever we required. You paste it here so that we can access by going into the classroom.
Exactly. So you can directly jump to a particular section category. I'm going to create few other let me show you this. So it's going to be at the end. It's going to be like this. We'll have various sections. You can always free to jump from one to another. Right? All right. Any questions?
Yes, Dhamodhar. No, Dhamodhar, everything is good. Thanks for your patiently explaining our doubts.
Welcome. So I request you to repeat 3 to 4 times. Use weekdays, at least spend 2 to 3 hours a day. And don't postpone things. Don't postpone to another weekend, or maybe just assume that, some people will feel that after completing the course, they will practice it. It's not going to work that way. So try to practice right when and then you get free time. And next 3 to 4 months, consider that, you try to put effort as much as possible. So you'll definitely get a good subject.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to be helpful for another 10 to 15 years. All right.
I got the I got the class invitation.
Right.
In that I have to join the class. I have to click on join the class.
Right. Join the class. Click on that.
But it's not working on, here.
So I think you should get something like invitation kind of. Accept invitation kind of.
I got the invitation from your email ID.
Okay.
It came in my spam. So
okay.
Yeah.
When I click on join class, yeah, go ahead.
But this join class is not, it's not working in my phone. Let me check on my desktop.
Do one thing, go open Google Chrome and log in with the email that you have shared to me. And then try to open classroom.google.com. So if you log in with something else, then you can't get access to Google Classroom.
Okay. From the Chrome, I was trying to do it from my phone. So yes, now I got.
You can see a classwork, right? Python scripts.
I can see.
Yeah, you need to right click on this one, open new tab, and then you will get download option. Okay.
Yeah.
Here is all right. Yeah. So any feedback or questions?
Yeah. So, sir, how can I give you the feedback? I feel like a very good class.
Okay, but there are too many topics. That might be the only difficulty part, right?
Yeah, for me too, everything is went well, Dhamodhar. The only thing is, since the time is night for us, and the other thing is like a lot of loads of topics.
Right.
Continuous topics.
And Generative AI, in fact, it will have too many topics.
Yeah. Yes.
So I should not lie, but it's worth enough. It's going to be helpful for next.
The problem is like we are, sitting 3 hours and listening.
Right.
That is way long back in our career. We never did
That's
that.
true.
So it will take time, like couple of weekends.
Yeah. So for 3 to 4 months, just try to put as much effort as possible. I can understand it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's definitely going to be very helpful. The 3 or 4 months effort that you try, put on. Sure,
Dhamodhar. And the way you are explaining is very clear, no ambiguity.
I prefer to have more interactive sessions, so I try to be as attentive as possible, as interactive as possible, so that you'll definitely get good subject.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay then. Thanks. Happy weekend. Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Keep in touch.